Welcome to r/AmITheButthole, where strangers on the internet judge people's deepest insecurities. Am I the butthole for telling my son's girlfriend that she is stupid? I have 2 adult children. My daughter has a 5-year-old daughter and my son's girlfriend is pregnant with their first child. I've always got the impression that she doesn't like me, but that's fine. I don't particularly like her either, but we are civil for my son's sake. I'm Brazilian. I grew up in Brazil and I go back once or twice a year to visit family. I had both of my children over last night and I mentioned that when it is safe to travel I will be taking my granddaughter to Brazil for the first time. My son's girlfriend said that she doesn't want her child going with me in the future, which is fine. Her hypothetical child was never invited. Then she said she doesn't want her child exposed to that culture. I asked what she meant by that and she said she is worried about her daughter. She doesn't know what she is having yet, growing up around my culture because I've had multiple plastic surgeries. My daughter got a boob job for a graduation gift, and I'm vain. Brazil does have a reputation for being the plastic surgery capital of the world, but it's not like I'm taking the 5-year-old there to get a consultation. It is also a beautiful country with a culture that goes far beyond plastic surgery. I told her she is incredibly stupid, borderline racist, and she doesn't have to worry about being taken on any trips. My husband said maybe we should take her and get something done about her chin. I did tell him that was an asshole thing to say. My son now wants me to apologize for calling her stupid. Am I the butthole? No OP, you're not the butthole. You're just giving the witch a taste of her own medicine. Am I the butthole for purposely letting my wife be late for work? This happened last year so it's no longer a big issue, but it comes up from time to time. My wife has a terrible problem getting up in the morning. I mean, it's bad. I'd honestly rather have my teeth pulled than try and deal with her. I've spent years coaxing her out of bed, trying to be supportive and understanding, help her develop good habits, but over time, she said I developed into more of a parent. I didn't want that, so I backed off. She developed this really annoying habit of setting lots of really annoying alarms every couple minutes so that she is forced to wake up. But they don't work. She sleeps right through them. They wake me up and make my mornings absolutely miserable. I typically wake her up angrily, which I know I shouldn't, but it's loud, constant blaring first thing in the mornings and it makes me insane. And it's a different alarm she doesn't even hear it. I've tried reasoning with her, coming up with compromises, threatening to sleep in the guest bedroom, but nothing works. She says that I'm treating her like a child and it makes her feel disrespected. I feel disrespected that I keep getting forcibly woken up and she isn't making a change. One morning I saw her wake up, disable her alarms and go right back to sleep. I had to wake her up so she wouldn't miss work. She didn't remember doing it. One morning, one of her hundreds of klaxons rang in my ear and scared me to death. I turned over and saw her groggily disabling her alarms and rolled back over and went back to sleep. That was the final straw. I did the exact same thing. About an hour goes by before her boss calls her asking where she is. Needless to say, she was livid with me when she got home. She said I should have just woken her up, but I held my ground and told her this cycle of behavior was done. Was I the butthole? You're not the butthole OP, but you may want to have your wife get checked out to make sure her sleep patterns are normal. Am I the butthole for not forcing my child out of the house at age 18? My child's father and I have very different parenting philosophies. He very much believes that kids need to be out of the house at 18 and self-supporting, and there is no relying on mom and dad. I definitely don't have that idea. My family doesn't have any kind of "you need to be out of my house by X age" ideas. I didn't move out for the first time until I was 21, and I lived with my parents off and on after until I got my current place almost 20 years ago. It's not anything to do with gender and it's not a "you can mooch off of us forever" dynamic. The kids are expected to be working or in school. But it's not a huge deal for them to live with parents unless they're addicts, make really terrible decisions, or are just lazing around. My family doesn't produce many kids due to late marriage and low fertility. And family dynamics are just different when you know you're only having one kid versus families with potentially unlimited kids. My place is a 2-bedroom that is set up as a roommate situation. Everyone told me I would quickly outgrow it and it would be inconvenient. But life only allowed me one pregnancy before my system gave out, so I never did. My child is doing well in school, is perfectly well behaved, and will be going to college in the fall, although online now. There's absolutely no reason I wouldn't let them live with me as an adult. They may not find it ideal, but there's no reason they would have to be homeless. My child's father remarried a woman with a child and had 3 more kids, bringing his total to 5 kids. He has a typical 3-bedroom home. We have monthly family meetings, and at the most recent one, he brought it up, I guess trying to scare them. And starting talking all this crap about them finding their own place soon in life wouldn't always be this easy. I was taken aback and said that it was ridiculous. Of course my child will have a home, at least with me anyway. And that it wasn't my fault he had so many children that he had to make these arbitrary deadlines. He was enraged that I was undermining him and letting my child hide behind me and from adult life. We left soon after. My family is telling me that I should have been less blunt about it and just kept things on the down low because I basically just said that their father was just a blowhard with no authority. I mean, if the shoe fits, but I suppose I maybe could have not thrown his opinion out so bluntly. Am I the butthole? OP, you are absolutely not the butthole. The father is no longer in your life, so he can't decide how you choose to support the child. Was I the butthole to tell my boyfriend's mother to get her own dog? Myself. 22-year-old female. My boyfriend. 33-year-old male. And our dogs have been living together for nearly a year, or I should say one of them has. Before moving in with me my boyfriend had been living with his parents, which meant his parents had a bond with his dog that they gave to him as his 30th birthday present. His father accepted the fact the dog is my boyfriend's and should move in with us. His mother talked to me alone and tried to convince me to talk to my boyfriend to let her keep the dog as she would be lonely without them both. I told my boyfriend everything she told me and he almost gave in and let her keep the dog. I can't remember who, but someone recommended we share the dog until his parents get a new dog. It started when we first moved in. She kept him while we settled into the house and would bring him over slowly so that he would get used to it. We then started to get him on weekends and then a week on week off where we would collect him on a Sunday then bring him back the next Sunday. This was going fine until the pandemic happened. My boyfriend's mother retired early from her job as she was at risk of getting critically ill from the virus. When this happened the dog had been staying with her a few days and it was decided that they can keep him for lockdown as she needed something to do and we had another dog to walk anyway. The other dog is 8 and has arthritis so we don't walk her far, but we agreed. We got him back after 3 weeks, kept him a week then didn't see him for another month. We now have him, but she is hinting that she would like to keep him full-time again by saying how grandson really loves being around the dog. My boyfriend's nephew doesn't live with her and only visits 1 or 2 times a week. He's also 4 and likes every dog he sees, and I admit the photo she showed me of them cuddling was cute, but it doesn't make sense for us to give her the dog because of that. I took a photo of the dogs sleeping by each other, sent her a text with a photo saying they get along so good together. Since she's trying to manipulate us through emotion, we can do the same back. Would I be the butthole to tell boyfriend's mother to get her own dog already? No OP, you are far from the butthole. Letting her keep the dog would be like having a relative giving a gift and getting it back when they asked. It's a gift. Am I the butthole for getting mad at my sister for not wanting me shirtless at her pool? My sister and her husband invited me over to their pool today for a little barbecue. I assumed it would just be me, my sister, her husband, my nephews, and my parents. But turns out they also invited her husband's side of the family. When it was time to get in the pool, I changed into my swim trunks and removed my shirt. But my sister stopped me before I came out their house and asked to keep my shirt on because of my scars. She was referring to the scars from when I had my top, chest, surgery. I'm a trans guy. Had started transitioning 8 years ago and my surgery was 4 years ago. My scars have already faded and they're pretty well hidden under my pecs. You'd have to look really close to even notice. I've been to their pool many times and she's never said anything before, so I was surprised. Every other guy including my dad were all shirtless in the pool. When I asked what the prob was with my scars, she said she was uncomfortable with her in-laws knowing I'm trans. My feelings were hurt, but I was mainly pissed. She said she didn't want her in-laws to look at her differently if they found out about me. She told me not to make a big deal and to go with it. When she left, I went back inside to change because I wasn't gonna go in the pool with a shirt on. I only had the one I came wearing because I didn't expect her to ask me this. My mood was soured after that and I didn't want to be around her, so I decided to leave. When I said bye to everyone, they were all confused since I was only there less than an hour. My dad pulled me aside and asked why I was leaving early. I told him to ask my sister and left. An hour later my sister called me upset because she and my dad got into a fight. My parents were furious about what she told me and they ended up leaving early too. Now she's angry at me for ruining the barbecue and said I didn't have to cause all this drama if I only did what she asked. What she said hurt me and I was no longer in the mood to be around her or anyone else, but I didn't mean for all that to happen. Am I the butthole for getting mad at her and basically ruining their day? No OP. She singled you out based on your orientation. You are not the butthole in the slightest. That was r/am I the butthole. Like and subscribe or 5 out of 5 buttholes for you.